Hello everyone, this is Bob and Threadbare, and welcome back to BioShock Infinite.
Booker, hurry!
No, that's the E.
No, that is certainly it.
No, it's not.
If they play the whole
Isn't.
song, he'll come back.
Isn't.
Is.
Try again.
No, you try.
Hurry, Booker,
Fine.
hurry! Come on!
Nope, that is not.
Is
not.
Is
not.
Is
not.
Pay attention.
Missed a couple seconds where he got up, but this is basically where we left off.
That's the E.
It is. It's wrong though. It's quite close, but it's wrong.
That was the same note.
Here.
Let's put an end to this.
Stop it! Stop
Fine.
it! You don't know
Here
what
you
you're doing!
There it is.
You've done it now. He's coming back. He's coming back.
The notes were correct.
The instrument was not.
One needs both to get his attention.
But if you know how to sing to him,
He will take you where you need to go.
Who are you?
we are where we are needed.
And needed where we are.
So Comstock uses these songs. Are there others we can use? Something to keep the bird off our back?
Perhaps you should ask the maestro himself.
So where is he? Of course. Well, at least they left the piano.
Suppose Emily must have seen them just sort of blink away. But then we saw that too earlier.
Booker. That's Comstock House. If we're gonna find him, we should start there.
The Vox are coming! We need to leave the dock! We need to push off immediately! The
Where
Vox!
are these people going?
Wherever the Vox Populi ain't.
Do it! Come on, you can do it! Just jump! Jump! Come on, jump!
I cannot do it! I'm sorry! I love you, but I can't do it. I'm sorry.
You need to remove your belongings or we can't take any more people! The barge is full! You're going to have to remove some of your luggage if we're going to fit more people on deck!
Here's some cash.
No better time to steal money than when people are at the ends of their ropes. I feel so good about myself right now. Man, look at that reload speed. Yeah, I think they're really sort of trying to capture the evacuation of that city in Vietnam whose name escapes me at the moment. But yeah, you know the moment I'm talking about. When we finally just evacuated from Vietnam, gave up.
The barge is at full weight! We're taking off now! Disembark!
At least someone got away. I do like how you can sort of hear the sounds of gunfire just off in the distance. I get the feeling that we're going to encounter hostiles soon.
I didn't do anything. What do you got, rich boy, huh? Take it all. What's this, a monitor? What am I gonna do with that?
You could pawn it. Anything new here? Oh, wait. Yes, there is something new here. Yeah. Third upgrades for the shotgun and the hand cannon. Also a few more stuff for Vox Populi weapons, but they're generally crap, so... Oh, hello there, buddy. You look dead. I imagine this is the guy who did it, too. So, down you go.
Open it!
On it!
Yeah, that's basically how long I'm used to the mosquitoes remaining alive. Damn it. No spare ammunition anymore. Yeah, let's...
Do it!
There you go!
Uh-oh. One nice thing about the mosquito is that you can keep bringing it in. That's not necessarily true about turrets and other things. But again, it doesn't really help because they usually last about 2 seconds. This is not going altogether well. Especially now that someone with a mortar has found me, zeroed in. So, you know, maybe it would help if I had one of those big guys on my side. Unfortunately, the asshole with the mortars is still out there.
My eyes open for more.
This is just not going all that well. Maybe if I come down here instead. Oh, hello. Thanks for getting close enough to nail you with the shotgun. You'll have to excuse me, I think I kind of forgot that I had crows at this point. Oh. Well, here's the asshole with the mortar rounds.
Breathe, Booker. Breathe.
Sadly, running straight up to him was not the brightest idea I could have had. Well, at least with... Yeah, I know about the guy. Damn it. Well, maybe I can do something about it.
There!
Oh hey, that thing lasted twice as long as normal.
More time to look.
And yes, that was me trying desperately to find a way to use Undertow. It did not go well. Really wish I could do something about that asshole with the flak cannon. So, hey, let's try ramming him.
Need these salts?
Did I kill him? I am just really off my game today. I mean, I know I've been playing Witcher 3 instead of this for the past while, but still, I kind of expected myself to do better than how I'm doing right now. Well, at least there are fewer people around now than there were when I was started. What, is that seriously all I had to do? Shoot off his helmet and then get him good with the hand cannon. Now I just feel embarrassed.
Look at this one. Do you think he wanted any part of this?
Did you?
On the other hand, he was a part of this. I mean, simply by taking advantage of the opportunities afforded to him by the, marginalization of an entire second class, he did in fact take part in the system, whether he wanted to or not. Also, this is the Vox Populi grenade launcher here. I figure I'll at least show it off because I don't really plan on using it. surprising number of trash cans around here. First gun I've
Elizabeth,
Let me have a look.
already seen.
what is it about that song that brings in the bird?
It always has. When I was younger, I used to be excited when I heard it.
Excited.
He was all I had. He fed me, brought me books. He was my friend
Friend.
until I grew up. And I hated him because he was my warden. But he's just Comstock's pet, isn't he? Just like me. There. Fitzroy's no better than Comstock. Was she?
Once people get their blood up, it ain't easy to settle it down again.
This is on our hands, isn't it?
How did they scalp Fink and get it here already? I mean, we only just left.
Help me out with this lock?
Come on, give me something challenging.
How long were we knocked out?
All yours.
Oh, the heater. Okay, so, yep, this is how the, Vox grenade launcher works. The grenades bounce. That's it. That's the only difference. And the weird thing, when you think about it, is the fact that, it actually works like the... What do you call it?
Go ahead.
Okay.
Okay, now I can get up here. But yeah, the fact that they now bounce makes them basically identical to the one in Fusion. Oh hey, here's the normal one you can find. Yeah, I'm not gonna put that on. So, anyway, the heater.
Go ahead. I'll be fine.
I fired it off once earlier, but basically the idea is that it's got a hell of a lot less ammunition than a shotgun, but it also deals more damage.
Found some money.
Nice.
Like, presumably even at range it deals more damage, because at short distances, a shotgun is absolute murder. So the heater is absolute murder +1. Except it's got really shoddy amounts of ammunition. Like, I think it's my vest is the only reason I've got 2 in the chamber. Oh, hey. Got a whole bunch of new options. Only 2 of them are expensive, too.
Oh, deadly stampede! Captured by man!
But yeah, I am definitely going to have to pick up the one for the murder of crows. There, see? That is the absolute limit of the ammunition you can carry with the heater. 7 rounds.
Come out when I can see
Anyway, yeah, that's the other advantage right there. Is that the heater sets people on fire. For sustained damage. More than just the initial burst. And I guess that's helpful in some circumstances.
This prophecy business. You don't think anyone can really see the future, do you?
I saw something once when I first got here. A dream. It was New York, but larger than any New York I ever saw. It was burning.
None of the prophet's magic is rubbing off on you.
Now they're just seeing universes whose time scale is slightly in advance of our own.
Yeah!
Oh hey,
No negotiation! No surrender! No
Hey, 2 for 2.
The false prophet.
Oh shit. They've got their own. By the way, not sure if you can see from here, but that's Lincoln. Vox Populi automatons are Lincoln. Come on, let me get around to the side here.
I don't have anything. Need this?
Appreciate it.
Of course I do.
That's all I have right now.
Look at that shit. Well, on the plus side, at least it makes relatively short work of the Patriots. Can I... Why can't I look through this? Okay, here we go. Alright, looking up at Emporia. Whee! Also, fat lot of good my Patriot did. Asshole just sort of stood at the top the whole time. I mean, I guess he did shoot downwards a bit, but that was still mostly me. That is not what I brought you in this dimension to do, Buster.
Think you can pick this?
Okay. There.
Sniper rifle. As it is, I'm just going to be waiting for another shotgun to come around.
I just realized who those two are. They, well, at least she, invented the technology that allows the city to float.
Giant balloons.
Quantum particles, suspended in space-time at a fixed height.
So, not giant balloons?
But the thing is, my book said they disappeared several years ago.
I told you they'd come.
No, you didn't.
Right. I was going to tell you they'd come.
But you didn't.
But I don't.
You sure that's right?
Something tells me they're not exactly what they appear.
I was going to have told you they'd come?
No,
The subjunctive?
that's not the subjunctive.
I don't think the syntax has been invented yet.
It would have had to have been.
Had to have had been. That can't be right.
They seem to want to help.
They seem to be out of their
Odd,
minds.
isn't it?
What's odd?
The fact that we sometimes...
Finish each other's sentences?
Exactly.
It would be odder if we didn't.
How do you suppose they manage that?
I'll get back to you after I figure out the floating city bit.
As we enter the back half of BioShock Infinite, we'll be encountering fewer unique situations, and as such, most of the remaining corners will not directly relate to what happens during the gameplay. They'll still be relevant to BSI, of course, but less immediately so. For instance, today we shall visit Philosophy Corner to discuss the history and the nature of feminism. I suppose this could go in History Corner too, but we're 20 episodes in and we haven't done a Philosophy Corner yet, so screw it. The majority minority. It's funny when you think about it. Throughout all of time and in every society, women have always slightly outnumbered men. It's only marginal, usually, but however you cut it, women are the true majority wherever you go. Now first, I'd like to make a few things clear. There are differences, biological differences, between men and women that go beyond the basic bait and tackle versus oyster and pearl distinction. However, these differences are, to my knowledge, trade-offs rather than an absolute benefit to one sex or the other. Men have greater upper body strength, women have greater flexibility. Men are better at spatial imaging. Women are better at remembering details. Men's eyes can pick out contrasts better. Women's eyes can detect color gradients better. Male brains have more gray matter. Female brains have more white matter. Men are more aggressive. Women are more passive. or at the least more passive-aggressive. Men are better at focusing. Women are better at multitasking. Men work better under a hierarchy. Women work better in a less competitive environment. There are other differences. Some are biological, some are social, but here's the important thing to take away. The most important fact I'd like you all to take away from this lecture. The fact that it's so often hard to tell when the gender difference is genetic or cultural means that these differences aren't actually important. It means that the distinction between individuals is greater than the distinction between genders, between cultures, between any sort of group. It means that while stereotypes are sometimes a good place to start when you're guessing what a given person is like, there is no stereotype or set of stereotypes in the world that can completely describe any given individual. For instance, when talking about gender differences, there's something a college professor of mine once called the 80-20 rule. Outside of the primary sexual characteristics, when you're talking about something that's true for men or for women, it will only be true about 80% of the people you're describing. 1 in 5 will be different. These differences aren't all concentrated in a few individuals either. They're spread out. Everybody's got a few. You might say that James is unusually weak, his wife Mary is a great navigator, his neighbor Alexander can juggle 5 tasks at once, and his other neighbor, Anne, has a vicious competitive streak. Still, when you're talking about societies and social politics, generalities do add up more than individual idiosyncrasies. In the beginning, the two sexes and everything in between were equal, and leadership, which isn't a gendered quality, was open to anyone. However, as tribes settled down into towns and cities, male specialties became more important than female specialties. The heavy lifting of construction work, and the strength you need to till the soil, the uncompromising competition of trading, and while warfare was nothing new to roving nomads, it takes on a new importance when you have stuff for other people to steal or burn down. Thus, because men were more useful to these early societies, they took advantage of this opportunity to marginalize women. For all the excuses you'll hear about women being the weaker sex, about needing to protect them, care for them, about how they need to stay at home and raise the children and keep the house, none of that really matters. That was true before, when the genders were equal, and it didn't stop anyone. Men's jobs were more valuable in early and mid-development sedentary societies, and men used this value to claim power. That's it. The status of male dominance began to shift because of mechanization and the Industrial Revolution. As labor-saving machines developed, including everything from automated looms to firearms, upper body strength became less important. As professions shifted from physical labor to mental labor, hard work took on a new meaning. Feminism didn't really begin at this point. It's always been around, but as the world moved into the 18th century, feminism finally began to get some real traction. The rising tide of feminism. The modern feminist movement really had its start in the late 1700s, around the same time as the American and French revolutions. Mind you, these events were still pretty male-dominated, so they aren't actually related. But the first wave of feminism, as we reckon things today, was founded in 1848. First wave feminism was strongly tied to the abolitionist movement, while that was still around, and to the temperance movement, up until Prohibition began in 1920. And it's no coincidence that women's suffrage in the United States became law that same year. The reason these movements were connected is due to the saloon culture that developed around factory workers. Men would spend 12 hours breaking their backs at work, and then they would spend 4 hours at a saloon getting drunk to forget the pain and the misery. And then, because they were still stressed, and they couldn't control themselves, they beat their wives and children when they finally got home. The alcohol was not the root of the problem, but as far as the women were concerned, it wouldn't hurt to get rid of it. The first wave operated primarily from 1848 to 1920, but again, these are American dates. Its agenda was based around getting women the right to vote and getting them jobs outside the home. Women could work in certain kinds of factories and as seamstresses and governesses, laundry workers, but their options were still more limited than what we think of as feminine jobs today. Nursing as a profession developed during this period, and secretaries, executive assistants, they started out as men-only positions. Women were also pretty big as flight pioneers. Airplane pilot was a new kind of skill, and women wanted to get in on it while there was still no real bias. World War I turned out to be a great boon to the women's rights movement. It was the first major war to invoke the draft since factories first incorporated electricity, and as such, it allowed women to completely replace men at these factories during the war. This gave women the evidence they needed to prove that men should take them seriously, and the 19th Amendment was ratified soon after. Second-wave feminism took shape in the 1960s as an aspect of the counterculture and the civil rights movement. This wave was focused on a woman's right to control her own body, to be more than the object of men's desires, and to control when and where she has children. Second-wave feminism also happened to coincide with the first rollout of birth control pills, and abortions became legal in the United States as of 1973. The second wave made a show of decrying the Miss America pageant, and of burning and destroying such things as makeup, false eyelashes, beauty lotions, and of course, bras and lingerie. They then proceeded to keep wearing bras because they're actually very helpful in keeping your bits strapped down. The second wave also reached out to minorities, both ethnic and sexual. Homosexuality first became a real movement at this time, and the idea of sex and gender being two different things first gained traction within this movement. Today we're going through what's known as the third wave of feminism. The third wave is very much less cohesive than the waves that came before it, and that's entirely by design. It's informed by postmodernism and our growing understanding of homosexuality and transgenderism. And what that means is that the third wave acknowledges the fact that the gender binary is first and foremost a social construct. They've also returned to the beauty products the second wave abandoned under the theory that women should be able to control their sexual appeal, since it's 90% confidence anyhow. Plus, men have their own sexual appeal, and they should be able to control theirs too. But at its heart, third wave feminism is all about the labels. Casting off the old ones, or redefining them, coming up with new labels, or just dropping labels altogether. Personal thoughts. I think the best way to explain my own thoughts on feminism is to describe my two grandmothers. My father's mother is the only reason I'm a quarter anything at all. She came with her parents from Italy during probably the last period of open immigration America ever had. She grew up in Ohio and was a very traditional sort of woman. She was born and raised Catholic and said grace over every lunch and dinner. She married my grandfather and stuck with him for something like 60 years, and they died within a year of each other. Throughout all of those years, she stayed at home, took care of the house and the children. I think the only time she ever had a job was during World War II, when Grandpa was off relaying radio transmissions across the Himalayas. Of course, she didn't stay in her home the whole time. She was very involved in the community, and kept in touch with her extended family, all of whom lived nearby. She absolutely loved to cook, loved to bake pies and make homemade pasta. If you don't have an Italian grandmother of your own, I highly recommend getting one. Because of her, my dad loves pasta. My sister got into cooking. I have to admit I'm not too shabby at it myself. But as far as feminism goes, she didn't exactly push any boundaries. On the other hand, my mother's mother was from a slightly different generation. She wasn't involved in World War II. Instead, she joined the Women's Army Corps during the Korean War. She had a husband too, but at some point he left her to raise 3 boys and my mother on her own. I don't exactly have many details about this since no one likes to talk about it. But the grandmother I knew was a lot more than a single mother. Once her kids were able to fend for themselves, she spent the rest of her life on the road, on a great big touring motorcycle that was so much bigger than she was that she had to use a sidecar or else it would tip over. The last one she had was a Honda Goldwing, and oddly enough, that bike passed down to my mom after she passed. My grandma went to biker conventions across the country and rented out her house for a little extra money. She kept a bunch of little yappy black and white dogs, which she sometimes took with her to that lake in Michigan, where her own mother used to live. She was also active in her community, and took part in the Meals on Wheels program. In the end, she even donated her body to science. When I think of my 2 grandmothers, I don't think of them as being a feminist and a non-feminist. I don't think that one of them contributed more or less to society, that one of them was better than the other. When I think of my grandmothers, I see 2 women who led very different lives, and yet were content with who they were and what they were doing. If they had been raised differently, would they have made different choices? Yes, absolutely. When you change everything about a person, that person will be different. Sounds fairly obvious to me. So when I think of feminism, I don't think it's about gender or sexual identity and what that's supposed to mean about you, or even what it's supposed to mean you should do. I think it's about choice. I think it's about giving women the ability to choose whether to be domestic or career-minded or artistic or whatever else they want to be. I think it's about giving men the ability to care about fashion and makeup and the smells that radiate off their body, and giving women the ability to not care about these things. I think it's about acknowledging that there is a greater difference between you personally and me than there is between any group of men and any group of women. I think feminism is about having the right to carve out your own identity without having to worry that society will stop you or punish you because of a generalization which doesn't even apply to you. All that anybody ever wants is to choose their own destiny, even if that means choosing to follow someone else's decisions. But not everybody gets that kind of agency over their own lives. And not everybody with that agency realizes how lucky they are. Thanks for joining me in Philosophy Corner, and I hope I'll see you soon.